5D Earth will appear for you when you realize this one simple truth. It's going to flip everything you think you've known and learned, even within spiritual traditions, completely on its head. Your body is a 3D interdimensional projector. That means that the solar system and perhaps the entire 3D universe is nothing more than a projection that comes directly from your body. Your mind, your true mind, is already in 5D. When you wake up to this understanding, you will then be able to use your body to create the 5D Earth by simply uniting your 5D intention into your 3D reality. Hello and welcome. This is Mahadeva the Thunder Wizard, and I'm going to try and share with you this awareness that is hitting me very strongly, and it is my belief that if you can also bring yourself into this awareness, expand into this awareness, and most importantly, operate with your intention and your actions from this perspective, then there's no reason why 5D can't come for you right now, today. Okay, so we need to lay some groundwork here so that we're all on the same page. By the way, if you're new to this channel, please do me a favor. Subscribe to this channel, like, all that other stuff. All of these links are here for a reason. So, and of course my books, michaelwilliamdenny.com. It's important that you keep coming back to these concepts, integrate them into your body, into your life, into your reality, and you live them on a daily basis, because the shift will come as a result of your actions. Your actions are a result of your mind. So you notice I haven't talked about feelings or changing the vibration of your feelings, because feelings and thoughts are merely reactions to things. Your intention and your mind and your actions, these are the most important things. So the good news is that as simple as this process is, the only difficulty in flipping to a completely 5D reality is simply whether or not you are able to do some simple shifts as opposed to responding from your programming and your feelings, and doing all of this without denying any of it. So it's extremely simple, but it's not necessarily easy. But that's okay. We're going to do this together. So I want you to take a look at this picture here. Here we have this meditator, which is you, and you see his chakras are all lightened up. They've been stimulated and empowered. Now, you have this belief that your chakras are these things that you open, these things that you meditate on. People try and open their third eye, they try and open their heart. These are probably the two most ones that people try and open. But these chakras aren't something that you open and all of a sudden you opened it and then you'll get these magical. That's not how this works. The chakras are projection points, and they are projection points into the third dimension. When you quote open one, let's say you open your heart center, and whatever it is that you are trying to get out of opening your heart center. What happens when you quote open your heart center is that you are now projecting higher dimensional concepts into the third dimension. So understand that the third dimension and the fifth dimension, these are two completely separate dimensions, which is why our three-dimensional experience is that we're alone and isolated in this universe. And it's also why when we do spiritual practices, all of a sudden we start to believe in these other worlds and these other realms that we can't prove with 3D science. And so this is where religion comes up with this idea of faith. I just know because in my dreams and in my meditations, I experience this. In my out-of-body experiences, in my near-death experience, and then of course 3D science says, well, we can't quantify or prove any of that, therefore it's all just happening in your mind. And that's actually true. But the truth is that your mind is not here in your body. Science has tried to find the mind. They tried to find it in the brain. It's not in the brain. The mind is somewhere else. But we do have this very powerful tool in our brain. It's called the pineal gland. And the pineal gland is actually a transceiver. It is an antenna. It is a transmitter for higher dimensional energies. This is why when people get deep into meditation, what is the one thing they focus on? They focus on the third eye. The third eye is the projection point of the pineal gland. Pineal gland projects out the third eye. And the pineal gland projects concepts, 5D concepts, into the third dimension. You can also use the 5D to travel to your, you can use your pineal gland to travel to your fifth dimensional self. So I've got some notes here. I'm going to stick to them because otherwise I get caught up in tangents here. So as I've said, Earth is a three-dimensional holographic projection from a higher dimensional plane. The third dimension is a screen. Now we're used to two-dimensional screens because we live in the third dimension. And so for us, we can project three-dimensional things onto two-dimensional screens. You're doing this right now. You're looking at your phone, you're looking at your computer, your laptop, you watch television. These are two-dimensional screens, and when you look at them, you perceive that you're looking at three-dimensional scenes, but you're not. They're two-dimensional, but your brain is able to turn that two-dimensional screen into a three-dimensional understanding in your brain. So the third dimension is a screen also. It's not real, it's a screen. Fifth dimensional light and vibrations are projected onto this third dimensional plane. This is why quantum physics says that the third dimension isn't real, it's a simulation. This is why all spirituality going back thousands of years has said that our world is Maya, it is illusion. This is why people who have out-of-body experiences come back and say, wherever I was, it was more real than here. People who have near-death experiences come back and say, when I died and left my body, I went to this amazing place. I could see out of all sides of my head, but it was so real. It was more real there than it is here. That's because this is a projection. So, try and imagine again like a two-dimensional screen, but it's a third-dimensional screen. So Earth is on that three-dimensional screen, and so are all of the planets. The planets, the sun, and even the stars, the galaxies. These are all projected onto a three-dimensional screen that we call the universe. The three-dimensional universe. As it is right now, the new telescope is revealing to scientists that our universe is finite, that our universe is in fact, they can find the edge of it and they can see evidence of other universes outside of ours. There's evidence to say that our entire three-dimensional universe is actually on the surface of a black hole. So anyway, there's the basic understanding. You are in a three-dimensional projection. So the idea of trying to it's like us trying to change the third dimension with our three-dimensional mind and our three-dimensional actions and our three-dimensional body is like asking a character in a movie that's being projected onto a two-dimensional screen. It's like trying to ask them to change the plot of the movie. They can't. They're stuck in it, just like we are stuck in time that we experience going from past to future. They're in a story that's already been written. We're watching a piece of it, but we're not going to be able to change the end of it. We're not going to be able to go back and change the beginning. It's always going to be the same because it's a projection. It's not real. Imagine being in that, but imagine throwing yourself into a movie that you can't change the plot or the outcome. And you end up taking on a character. You're going to do the same things, act the same way that character acts, even if you have this experience of being conscious. That's three-dimensional universe that we live in, our life. So your physical body, this is the thing that needs to be flipped. Because your experience is you live in this tiny little body and you experience your body as being subject to all of these influences. And that things happen to you. The law of attraction is a really wonderful concept, except that it's incomplete. Because this idea of attracting something to you assumes that you are a thing and you're going to attract a thing to you. Like you're going to attract money. Money doesn't exist, so that is ridiculous. But wealth, prosperity, you treat these as though these are things sort of floating around in your 3D, and if you vibrate with them, you'll attract them to you. But that's like saying to a character in a movie, you can change the outcome of the movie. No, you can't. I've seen it a billion times. I rewind, I fast forward, I know exactly what happens in that movie. So what needs to happen is that the light which projects onto the screen has to change. When the light that is in the higher dimension changes, then the projection will change. So your body is actually a prism within the three-dimensional holographic projection. So if we take ourselves out of the equation, imagine three-dimensional projection like a movie screen, and it's just shining a picture onto the movie screen or shining a video onto a movie screen. It's a moving picture. But, that picture has no ability or consciousness to be able to shift or change itself. Now imagine you bring in something that acts as a conduit between the three-dimensional projection and the five-dimensional projector. That in-between conduit or prism is your physical body. Your physical body has all of these different projectors in it, which we call chakras. And what happens is fifth dimensional light comes into that from your soul as well as from your mind in higher dimensions, and it comes through your human body. And it is projected out of these projectors onto the three-dimensional screen. We talked about this, that each one of the chakras is associated with a planet. It's actually not the case. When you see the sun out there is shining out my window, that sun is actually a projection onto a three-dimensional screen from where? My navel. My navel is projecting higher dimensional energy into that three-dimensional screen, and I experience it as the sun. Same is true with the moon, with Jupiter, Mars, Venus, Mercury, Saturn, Pluto, Neptune. They're all projections from within this 3D body. Got it? So you've got this antenna, this transceiver, this pineal gland. You've got these chakras, and the transceiver can take higher dimensional energy, and then you can project it out your chakras into your third dimensional experience. Balancing the chakras and all that, that's a whole other deal, but that's really sort of like fine-tuning your projector. Got it? But what I want you to understand is that the energy behind it is of a pure spiritual nature. Our prism, our conduit, our projector, that's the thing that we need to fiddle around with. You might experience yourself, as I do, as, oh, I haven't achieved full enlightenment yet. I'm imperfect in this way and I'm imperfect in that way. But that's not your soul. Your feelings and your thoughts are not part of your soul. Your feelings and your thoughts are this avatar body, this tool. It has all these thoughts and feelings. When you have been programmed by three-dimensional reality to identify with that programming and with this body, then you identify with all of the imperfections of the third dimension. You're angry, you're sad, you're selfish, I have blocks, I'm not perfect, I'm sinful. These are all other ways of saying, I just need to fine-tune this a little bit more. So don't identify with your challenges. Don't identify, I'm not saying don't have your pain, because when something's wrong with the projector, you got to fix it. So I'm not saying to forget your feelings, because that's like not, working to fix all the little glitches in your projector. But when you don't identify with those limitations, then you're free to concentrate on the actual storyline which you are creating in higher dimensions. If you're not focused on that, then you're going to be focused on all of these imperfections, which is going to create this self-perpetuating prophecy. You're going to be running around on the hamster wheel, and you're just going to keep creating chaos for yourself. All right, so your true mind is already in the fifth dimension. So you don't have to access something you already have. You're already there. You just have to awaken to that. And that's a whole lot different than achieving it. You understand? Your human body, with all of these projectors in it, all the pineal gland, the chakras, the three dantians, the nervous system, the kundalini, all of these wonderful things that your human body has. And it is, like I said, it's like a USB port. The fifth dimension can USB port into your body and then change this 3D reality. Okay, it's maybe another way to look at it. Your human body creates new realities, new storylines in the movie, new probabilities become manifested. When your 5D mind is able to connect unhindered to your 3D avatar body projector system. And when you're able to operate from your 5D mind, then everything's going to shift. And when you choose to identify more with your 5D self than your 3D instrument, 5D Earth will appear in your 3D reality. I've experienced it. I'm getting more and more experiences of it as time goes on. And I feel a lot more comfortable than I did even just a few days ago about how all this works. I shared with you in previous videos how my higher dimensional friends took me to the fifth dimensional reality. I didn't leave my body. I didn't leave this earth, to the best of my knowledge. I didn't ask anybody when I was walking around, but I'm pretty confident that other people could see me. Although if somebody told me that they couldn't, it wouldn't surprise me. But the fifth dimensional personal experience is nothing more than a frequency of consciousness. Now, my higher dimensional friends were helping me, but I had to participate. This is important. If I didn't relax into the higher dimensional frequencies they were putting into me, I wouldn't have had an experience. I would have been uncomfortable. And this is what's happening with a lot of people. We call it ascension symptoms. So let me back up a little bit and let me talk to you about, again, your projection of this three-dimensional reality includes all of the planets in the solar system, including Earth. It includes all of the star systems that are visible, which include all of the stars of the zodiac. I don't know when I say we, I mean what I've come to understand is that the solar system, as well as all of the stars in the zodiac that surround us in our field of view, are all one unit. That's why when the Earth shifted, long story short, go Google Mandela effect, Earth, Sagittarius arm, Milky Way galaxy. Go Google that. What you will find out is that Earth has moved. Earth has moved 73,000 light years from where it used to be in 2012. And once I realized this and saw this and talked about it on the channel, somebody asked me a really great question, which annoyed me at first until I thought about it. And the person asks, well, how can that be possible? Because all of the other planets and stars of the zodiac are in our view. And I went, oh. So that means that our entire solar system, as well as all of the stars in our field of view, came with us. That means that your projection starts here on Earth and expands out as far as you can see. That's your projection. It's one unit. So that means also that our galaxy is directly connected to this projection. Now, instead of you thinking of this, you're this little person and all of this stuff, which is your experience, but that's because you're just simply, your 5D self is focusing on the 3D. You know, it's like when you're looking at a photo and you zoom it up. That's what your soul has done. Your soul is looking at the 3D universe and it went like this. And then put itself into this supposedly tiny body in this huge picture. But you're actually out looking. Your mind is actually looking from the fifth dimension onto the 3D screen. You're just so wrapped up in it, you forgot that you're actually in a higher dimension watching all of this. So the solar system and all of the zodiac is one unit, and it is one unit designed to allow very powerful deities, which you call a soul. If you have a human soul, it means you are a deity, a very powerful deity. And you are an avatar. We talk, we've heard of Vishnu being, the avatars of Vishnu. We can conceive of the almighty, all-pervasive Vishnu, squishing himself down into a human avatar, but we see him as he's far more than that. We realize that his avatar is just that. It's a 3D image of this infinite God. Well, guess what? That's what you are also. You are a God as powerful as Vishnu, as Shiva, as Brahma, as Zeus, as Jehovah, as any deity that you associate with being omnipresent, all-powerful, all everything. That's you. And you have chosen to come in as an avatar in this physical body. And as a result, you've been given this very powerful tool called the human body, human mind, the chakras, the dantians, the nervous system, kundalini, all of that. Now, the only difference between the person who's able to manifest all of these, everything he or she wants, is simply being aware of that. Now, what blocks you from the awareness of that is when you react to all of the imperfections in your human physical projector. Your chakras are going to be, out of balance. They're, some are going to be stronger than others. You look at, again, it's a big hologram. You look at your Vedic astrological chart, you're going to see based on where the planets are, you're going to see which chakras need strengthening and which ones are out of alignment. And so that's why working with an astrologer is great, because then you know what planets and what chakras are connected, and you can fine tune that so that you can get all of those chakras lined up. And then you line up your awareness with your 5D reality, and then guess what? You're now consciously aware that you are projecting everything. So we've got our solar system and our zodiac. That's one unit designed for you. It's a place for you to perfect your instrument. And then what you have worked into this movie, all of us, if we've come here, we've all worked into this, we've collaborated on creating this movie. In this movie, what is going to happen is that the human race on and planet Earth are going to shift up to a higher frequency. And in this higher frequency, you'll still have a lot of the same experiences you have in the current 3 dimension. You'll be able to walk around with a physical body, you'll be able to interact physically with things, but you'll have more 5D attributes. You'll become more telepathic, meaning you'll be able to communicate with people telepathically. You will, your third eye will be able to open more. You'll be able to see higher dimensional beings. You'll be able to communicate with loved ones and friends who have passed on, and you can talk to their soul. You can talk directly, interact directly with deities, higher dimensional beings of light. We will be able to simply communicate with the plants around us, and the plants will give us all of the nutrients and nutrition that we need. We will be self-sufficient to such a degree that we will no longer need countries or banks or armies or police or governments. We won't need any of those things. We will no longer operate on fear and self-devaluation and anger, jealousy. We will be able to love ourselves and others unconditionally. The complete focus of your life will be, you wake up in the morning and you will worship the sun, because the sun is going to literally communicate and interact with you. There are people like myself, I'm one of them, but there are people who have begun to go through changes. And some of you are my students, where you can remember maybe 6 months ago, the sun would come up and you could sleep right through that. And now what happens with me is that I know when the sun is about to come up, because I'll be asleep and I will wake up to my body will begin buzzing and all of this energy, and it feels as though a higher dimensional being has just manifested in my room. And at first I thought that's what was happening, that every day just before I woke up I had this feeling that a higher dimensional being was coming in and waking me up, until I realized that it was the sun. And it wasn't that, I've got, the curtains and everything shut, so it's not that. It's the electromagnetic field of the sun as it hits, it comes over, just as it's just about to come over the horizon, it stimulates the electromagnetic field in our atmosphere, and my body is responding to that. But it's not just a physical thing, it's also a spiritual, emotional, and I'm having a communication with the sun. You'll have that. This will happen to everybody. You'll be able to communicate directly with the stars and the planets. I've had this experience where I look out and have a conversation with the moon, have a conversation with the sun, conversation with the ocean, conversation with the earth herself. That is where people are going to go. And the only difference between that happening now and, whenever it happens is your awareness to that. And so to get to that awareness, our vibration will come up a notch. Now, what is going to happen now? Remember that you've heard of the solar flash. You've heard that the solar flash comes. I've told you this, that the central sun, which is the the black hole in the center of our galaxy is going to send high vibrational spiritual energy to our sun, and then our sun is going to send higher dimensional solar waves, which we call the solar flash, which will hit the earth, and this will shift the vibration of everything on the earth up. Now, I've just described it in a way where it happens to you, where you're this object and this thing happens to you, and it hits you, it raises your vibration, and then you shift up. But let me step back a little further. That's the third dimensional experience. That's if you're watching the 3D movie, that's what you see on the movie. But what's happening behind the scenes in the fifth dimensional projector is that you are the one that does it. You are the one that makes the decision. In the fifth dimension, you make the decision in cooperation with your 3D self. Your 3D self awakens to its 5-dimensional awareness, and it says, oh wow, I want to physically experience this in my 3rd-dimensional body. Then what ends up happening is that decision then is immediately transferred to the center of the galaxy, which is the center of you, the center of your will. It is the combination of all of these things, and you have this ability to choose. That comes from the center of the galaxy. You could call it God. If you want to call it God, you can, but the fact is you're God. But from your 3rd-dimensional self, you see it as something outside of you, all powerful. But from your 5th-dimensional self, you realize it's you, because you're looking on this computer screen, this 3-dimensional computer screen. You're watching this movie of you, and you're changing the trajectory of the movie as you're watching it. So the center of the galaxy will then send through a wormhole, which there's a direct connection from the center of the galaxy to all of the stars and planets in the Milky Way. We can just focus on the Milky Way for now. But everything is connected to this central hub, which is the galactic center. When the galactic center makes the decision, now comes the 5D shift. It sends that energy through a wormhole instantly to the sun, and the sun then projects that 5D energy to Earth. It hits our electromagnetic bubble around our Earth, our atmosphere. It makes its way through to the Earth. It hits us. Our physical body vibrates on a higher level, and we shift. Now, this is only going to work for those who choose to move up to the next level. Moving up to the next level is actually very simple. If somebody was completely in line, we would call them enlightened, awakened. If they were completely aligned with their higher dimensional self, what would happen is the shift would be instantaneous, and there would be zero resistance, and it would just feel very good, and you go, oh, there I go. I like that. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. That's why little kids aren't going to really see that much of a difference. Spiritual meditators aren't going to feel that much of a difference. I have some people I know who are very, very accomplished meditators, and I talk to them about the solar shift that's happening. And they're like, I guess I kind of feel something a little bit. But people like you and me, we have headaches, we get tired, we have cleansing things that happen, we get filled with anxiety and fear and anger, and all that means is that our 3D attachment to the 3D screen is being tested. And so the more we hold on to our 3D survival mechanisms, the more challenging it becomes. And for some people on Earth, I don't know how many, and I don't wish this on anybody, but apparently for some people on Earth, it will be so painful for them to let go of their 3D attachments, their victim mentality, their fear, their anger, their inability to trust, their self-devaluation. They are so comfortable with that, they're used to that, that letting go of it will be so traumatizing to them that they will choose to stay there. And when that happens, those that go along with this natural shift, because it's an evolutionary shift, they will shift up, and it won't necessarily have to be anything. They'll just realize one day, or they'll maybe see over time, that things are shifting. I'm noticing that. When and here's something I recommend that you do. Go someplace you love being. If you live someplace where it's ugly and gross and there's a lot of negativity, do your best to get out of it. Move away from that. If you're in a toxic environment with friends or family or roommates, move. Go someplace that feeds your spirit. That's what I do. As you know, if you followed my channel, I only go and live where I want to live. And I wake up every day. I got this jungle outside my front door with parrots of all different colors, and I can see the ocean from here. And there's this it's not private, but there's this nature path that goes down to this cove surrounded by tropical plants and blue-green water. And when I'm down there, I was just down there this morning. I'm like, if you had told me I had reached 5D, I would have believed you, because everything that I experienced was just beautiful and perfect for me. So find that, because that helps you align with that. We can go back to here, the 5 ways to travel across the energy portal to 5D New Earth is awaken the pineal gland. I will make more videos about that. By the way, all of the practices that I teach here in the 90-day challenge, all of them awaken the pineal gland. Everything that I teach on the free channel, if you go to the playlists, that awakens the pineal gland. Mastering what's in the book, the shamanic secret commandment to a perfect life. If you master what's in that book, like, don't just read it once and put it down, but treat it like a Bible. Read it every day. Put it into practice every single day. You will awaken your pineal gland. I can make a video explaining how that happens, but just trust me, it will. It has nothing to do with how you feel. Although you will feel bliss, Yogananda talks about it. All kinds of spiritual practices talk about the bliss that comes from awakening the pineal gland. But you don't have to have that. You don't have to be feeling anything. You can be feeling good or feeling bad. The pineal gland gets awakened based on intention and action. So intend to live and act from higher dimensions, which means you treat people with unconditional love regardless of how you're feeling. Don't try and talk yourself out of your feelings. Don't wait to feel good to act with unconditional love. Unconditional love is an action regardless of how you feel. And envision your perfect reality. All right, let's get back to the 5 ways. We talked about this. Awakening the pineal gland. Second, do CE5. Go Google it. There's, in fact, you can watch on YouTube for free Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. Go watch that movie. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. And then you can do CE5 with yourself, or you can connect with other people and do it. But CE5 is just simply human-initiated contact with higher dimensional beings of light. Just by doing that, I guarantee you, even if you don't have an experience, if a big giant ball of light does not come out of the sky, I guarantee you have poked a hole into your 5D your three-dimensional screen. Okay? And then if you do interdimensional meditation, I've got free guided interdimensional meditations on the channel. I also have a few in the interdimensional meditation course where I give you some of my personal tips, but you don't need to do that. You can look at it if you want. So do CE5 and or interdimensional meditation. Number 3, imagine your perfect earth every day, every single day. If you want to set a time, every day when I wake up, or every day before I go to bed, or whenever it is. Before bed is good. When you wake up is good, and before bed is good. When you do it when you wake up, then that'll set a tone for the rest of the day. If you do it before you go to bed, your unconscious mind will dream about it. But meditate on your perfect reality. My perfect reality, I've shared a lot, and don't skimp. I mean, absolute, total, utter, heaven on earth fantasy. Okay, that's number 3. Number 4, purify your physical body. So stop all intoxicants, alcohol, weed, nicotine, caffeine, junk food. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to start going in that direction. So if you got a bunch of them, just get rid of one at a time. Get rid of smoking weed, then get rid of alcohol, then get rid of sugar, and get whatever it is. And you don't have to be perfect. I'm not perfect, so I'm not telling you to be perfect. But you got to purify your body, purify your mind. We're already talking about it. Make a commitment that you will learn how to love other people unconditionally, regardless of how you feel. Your treatment of them is not as important, is more important. Sorry. Your physical treatment of other people is more important than whether or not you feel like being loving and kind. That's immaterial. Whether you feel like it or not is immaterial. Babies do that. When babies are in a good mood, they treat you nice, but when they get cranky, they bite and they scratch. And an adult doesn't bite and scratch even if they're not in a good mood, right? And then the third one is you purify your intentions. Seek to, when you find yourself bogged down in, I hate myself, I hate my life, I'm such a victim, just choose to go, okay, I'm going to now invest in what I'm grateful for and focus on all the beautiful things that you have and the beautiful things that you want. Number 5, expand quantum love intention. This is very simple and probably the most powerful thing I can tell you. Quantum love is very simple. It's different from third dimensional love, which is third dimensional love is, if you do this for me, I'll love you in return. And quantum love is you do what is best for your soul, what gives your soul joy, regardless of what other people think. Because when you do that, you empower yourself. When you empower yourself, you empower other people. Even if the empowerment is they're forced to see what it's like to live from the soul, even if they want you to do something else. You're in a codependent relationship with an alcoholic who wants you to work all day and take care of him, and you say, you know what, I'm going to go take care of myself, and then he gets all upset. But that's the kindest thing you could do for them. So love yourself first, and everybody will feel loved. Treat other people with unconditional love, and you will be loving yourself. That's it, my friends. I wish you all of the best. I will be back on here soon. Leave comments and questions in the comment section. If I like it, I will make a video on it. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you all very soon. Take care.